Hi there. I'd like to do a review of this book, Storytelling with Data Before and After Practical Makeovers for Powerful Data Stories. It's been written by the following authors: Cole Nussbaumer Knaflick, Mike Cisneros, and Alex Velez. I think the main premise of the book is to teach how to tell better stories, carry the audience along, especially when you're presenting technical information. It's quite known that communication is one of the biggest skills to possess in the workplace, especially now that artificial intelligence and you know large language models are able to derive insights probably better than many humans can. It therefore now shifts from just the fact of being able to gather data rather to a point where we're able to present the data in the most impactful way. One of the major ways that we present data in the workplace today is using graphs. And so let's start there. The book teaches that it's very essential not to stress about selecting the perfect graph. Over here, we can see different types of graphs, and they are naturally applicable when presenting different types of data. But a common mistake junior level analysts make is trying to fixate on what is the best graph to use per time. But the book is teaching that you can lean into more creativity when selecting a graph. And rather than thinking, how can I pack all my data into the best graph to show it, you think about what is going to be the most impactful way to communicate this data to my audience. And that question will help you determine what kind of graph to use. So there are various options. When using graphs, one of the first things to do is to properly title and label your graphs. The book teaches that it's better when you use a descriptive title for your graph so that when your audience looks at it, they can immediately tell what information is being presented to them within this graph. We have a couple of examples here where on the left we see a line graph that doesn't really tell us what it is presenting. We have to guess what this information that is being presented to us is. However, on the right, just by adding a descriptive title and labeling the axis, we are able to, at one glance, understand what information we are dealing with. Of course, also the data is also labeled. So this gives a sharper insight into what is being presented. The next point is to put your points into words. So what do you want people to know when they look at your graph? What's the point you're trying to communicate? The book teaches that without a clear goal, it can be easy to create a graph that attempts to convey multiple messages but ultimately doesn't communicate any of them particularly well. Knowing what you want to say with your visual is critical so that you can move from just analyzing data to presenting it to others. So I like to think of this as, what's the summary? What's the key point? What's the main takeaway here? And once I have that, then I'm able to present that to my audience in words, of course, in words easy to understand, so that they don't have to guess what I am telling them. It's also really important as we work on graphs that we declutter our graphs as much as possible. Previously, especially from personal experience, I used to be the kind of analyst that wanted to put all the information I had in one single graph. I wanted to show how much analysis I had done, and I wanted to kind of create the most complex, complicated graph that will, for anyone looking at it, they'll look at, oh, this is so technical. This analyst has done a great job here. But that was actually counterproductive. I was supposed to be running in the other direction. We should declutter our graphs as much as possible so that it's super easy for people to grab it and understand what the point there is.